available tonight, it's on me. Don't attack the coordinators, come at me. Don't attack the players, come at me. This is me. This has nothing to do with none of them. It has everything to do with me. Let's go.
What went into your decision to put Juju into the game there?
Common sense.
Was there ever a discussion, or is there still a discussion about him using this as a redshirt year at all?
I don't know his thought process or his parents. I have no idea. I just control what we can control. I'm proud the kid got an opportunity. Sometimes you're forced to do some things that probably should be done anyway. And I'm glad he got an opportunity. He's got his feet wet a little bit. He got to see blitzes, just real play and what he needed to work on, and he will. He's a worker. He's going to try his best to get it done. But I'm glad we got to that conclusion.
Coach, you've obviously tried to push a lot of buttons with this team.
Yes,
Ray
sir.
Lewis was speaking to the team. Is that one of the more frustrating aspects of this, just not being able to quite put your finger on it?
That's really good, but also just thinking that you got it, and you don't. Thinking that you have it, and you don't. Think you're gonna see it, and you don't. Thinking you're doing the right things, and you're not. That's on me.
Welcome into a new BuffStampede Radio. Adam Munsterteiger, the publisher of BuffStampede.com, joined as always by football analyst William Gardner. William, I got to see you in person out on Thursday night at Roosevelt High School. We got to see Colorado commit Josiah Manu. We'll get into that later. And well, first off, how are you doing, man? It was good to see you in person.
I'm doing fine. You know, it's as a CU fan, you kind of at some point have to get over basing your moods on CU football because it's going to let you down more seasons than not. So I'm doing well. Personal life is going good. Had a lot of fun with you up at that football game. So it's all good to me. You know, these are not easy podcasts to do after games like this, especially 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I figured we have to change it up just a touch on this podcast because otherwise I feel like it's going to be the exact same depressing show that we had last week after 53-7 at Utah. Obviously this week 52-17 at home against Arizona. So we're going to do two Colorado football heavy topics, run through that discussion. We're going to do an off-topic discussion just to break it up. I called it 2 for them, 1 for us, just to keep our mental health here together during this show.
Yeah.
You know, first off, what are your thoughts on what Coach Prime said there about just, you know, you're feeling like you're really close, but yet those buttons you try to push just don't really result in, you know, positive results on game day.
Well, I can't read his mind, but it seems very clear to me that he was very close to saying, you think you got dogs and you don't. And I think he was thinking hard about what to say about who. And, you know, I think we all saw a lot of quit in that team against Utah. And I think that probably doesn't sit well with him. And probably he thought he had some guys that are not what he thought they were. And I imagine he's very frustrated because he was always very successful in this sport. Now they're having struggles that are sort of unprecedented. A lot of that's on him. A lot of them is accidental, or I wouldn't say accidental, but incidental to other things. But I think he's a guy who's looking for solutions to this. And I think there are some of them that are obvious. And I don't know whether he's doing those things and it's not being announced, but it seems clear to me that some of the bigger mistakes was who he hired on his staff. But he seems clearly to be very disappointed and frustrated. So, you know, I never was a head coach. I didn't have to go and talk to the media after games like this, but it got to be unpleasant.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know he took a little criticism. ESPN was saying that he locked out players and all that stuff. I mean, it's one thing if it happens on a regular basis. I think pretty much every head coach I've covered at Colorado has had that game where they're like, let me fall on the sword. Let me take the brunt of this. I don't. And sometimes as a leader, you got to understand kind of the psyche of your team. And it sounded like Ben Fennesith was really laying into them. So it was more about kind of accountability than it was, let me let you guys get some shine in front of the media, or even face the negativity from the media, which obviously that would have been more of the case on Saturday late evening. But it's one thing if it happens after every loss where the coach is just saying that, you can't talk to anybody else as media, but I didn't take too much offense to that.
No, and I think, like you said, every coach has done it. I've saw Saban do it. I've seen everybody do it from time to time. You don't want to. And at the end of the day, what's going to be the value of putting players out there to answer questions? It's like, hey, why didn't you play better? I don't know. What the hell's the answer going to be?
We've already been asking those guys.
Right.
We asked those questions after the Utah game. It would have been the same stuff, man.
Right. And at some point, when you do this 2 weeks in a row, there's not a lot to be said after that. So I know the media's got a job to do, but there's not really much point in putting those guys out there. You mentioned Fennesith laying into them, and at this point, I don't know that matters too much. You can only, I coached a lot of years, and you can only do so much yelling. The problem with this team moving forward is going to be, can you keep them on board, or do you lose them entirely? And I don't know that yelling at them they've been yelled at. They know the problems, and so I don't know that that's necessarily a thing. If we had better leadership on this team and camaraderie, I think it was what stuck out to me during the week prior was a comment from Ray Lewis when he was talking to the team. And he said, "There's no camaraderie, there's no brotherhood. You're putting on the same uniform, but you're walking out different spirits." You know what? That's a huge part of what's going on here, and I think we all see that to some extent. And they don't have the same team togetherness that they had last year. And it's funny to me, it's always been interesting to me in football, how much difference 3 or 4 players can make, how much difference 3 or 4 plays can make. If you make those plays in the first game and you start to believe and it rolls, and then you don't make them and then you don't. And I think they made some decisions in the offseason are not paying off right now. But, I'm pushed back against some of the people that are patting themselves on the chest for predicting that we would suck. I don't know what bugs some people so much about people having optimism, but we were looking at this team preseason as an entirely different team, quite frankly. And I think you said somewhere it's kind of been a perfect negative storm with injuries and bad QB play and bad coaching and the whole thing. But we
lack of leadership.
But I think Brian Howell put up there somewhere, that there are 76 total scholarship players, and 19 of them were out or doubtful for this game. So now you're down to in the low 50s of players, and at this level, if every guy doesn't pan out, you're in trouble with those kinds of numbers. And I think one of the things that's a bad decision they made in the offseason, they should have gone harder after more guys, I think, but. Who could have foreseen, here's a list of Hakeem Williams, Simeon Price, DeKalen Taylor, Isaiah Hill, Makari Vickers, Amari McNeil, Tawfiq Thomas, Alexander McPherson, Isaiah Hards, Tavian Coleman, Torian Carter, Samuel Okalola. Almost the entire defensive line we expected for this season is out at this point, and I'm not going to blame injuries on everything, but there's something interesting going on. I don't know what it is. The other thing that somebody else raised that has been in my mind too is what the hell happened on the bye week, man? Because up until the bye week, we were competitive in every game we played, and then we come out of the bye week, and it's 2 straight blowouts. So I wonder if something happened during that period of time, those 2 weeks, that changed the direction of this team, and I don't have any idea. But it certainly seems interesting that we came back a very different team after that bye week.
Yeah, I'm going to be fortunate to be accompanied by my wife out to West Virginia. She's a really talented photographer, but she's got a full-time day job. So usually gets to go out on one road trip with me a year, and it's always great having her company. She's been hearing all these stories, for years now. And so even though she's not a football expert, she's got some intuition with this stuff. And one of the things she told me after watching the last couple of weeks is just like, this is not a likable football team.
No.
It's not a team. And you can sense that by
Right.
watching them play. I even back in 4 and 8 in 23, like there was more of a sense of team with
Right.
that group. And it's true. Like there's some really cool individuals on this football team, but the beauty of football is that it's not like baseball where you've got a batter and you're up at the plate and it's you against the pitcher. It's kind of less of a team game in that moment. In basketball, you can have a couple players really carry a team to victory. In football, if you're not in sync, if you're not 11 all playing together, it gets exposed, and that's what's happened here the last couple
Yeah.
weeks.
And I think that's a part of it and that was even after the first 4-win season, the talk was about chemistry and lack of chemistry, and they really addressed that for last year. And I wonder if they took it for granted going into this year that it would still be there, and it's not there, but they also, I think that, they made some bad offseason decisions at linebacker and quarterback, edge, defensive back. And so I think you just can't get away from, we just have some really bad coaching on this team. They're just not fundamentally sound, and they just can't make the plays. There were so many chances in this game. We had an interception called back on a penalty. We had a long touchdown called back on a penalty. We had interceptions dropped. So many chances, and we just don't get it done. And lots of turnovers and what have you, and we just don't seem to get it together. We're not fundamentally sound, and these coaches are not doing a very good job. At this point, it's well beyond that. And you start to wonder if we're in a territory now where and I think I saw somebody on our board talk about, when kids begin to feel like the team can't win, especially if the quarterback can't get the job done, then they stop putting out as much effort, and it's not always that you just quit, but like, when you believe and you are given everything you've got, they say it's a game of inches, and maybe you can reach that extra inch, maybe you get that little bit of extra speed, whatever. And when you don't believe, you don't get that. So I don't know. This team has not been able to find a way to make plays happen. I just don't understand what they're doing with the edge position in terms of the run game. And, the group of linebackers they got is just not good. So there's a lot of things going on here. I don't understand what's going on with the injuries. Is that a Swayze thing? Just bad luck. And then, it's worth pointing out too that, we're losing to good teams. Arizona's at 5-3 is the worst record of a team that's beat us so far, so they're all 8-1, 7-2, 8-0. There's no excuse for 53-7 or 53-17, but, we're not losing to bad teams. We're losing to good teams. We got a tough schedule, and everything didn't come together.
And West Virginia figures some things out now with Colorado
Right.
going out there.
Right.
It's like, can Colorado face one of these teams that just is kind of hitting a low spot?
Right.
Even last year, you go back, they finally control their own destiny. They go out to Arrowhead Stadium against a Kansas team that did not have a very good record going into that game, but they had figured some stuff out right at that moment. And it was like, man, it's tough being a Buff supporter sometime, or maybe a member or fan, or whatever, however you're connected to this, man. It's brutal sometimes.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't have any good news on the horizon because I don't see us beating any of these last 3 teams. I think there's, it's tough to stop a slide once it's happening like this, as bad as this is, and especially with 2 bad beatdowns. Some guys are going to quit, and there's just no, that is not necessarily a reflection on Coach Prime. That's just human nature, and I think.
But even like to your point there, it is human nature, and it's not maybe a conscious decision of you're thinking in your head, I'm quitting. It is a situation where it's framing within your mind. Like, if you wake up and you've got a couple tasks during the day that are going to suck and you're focused on that, your attitude's going to suck. And you're just not going to be as positive in those other moments. And
Yeah.
like you even talked about the fact that if quarterback play is struggling, some guys on offense just are going to lose their mojo. And it's not I don't care, I hate CU, or I'm just not going to give an effort. It's human nature. And it's like the same thing that you see when you build up a 28-point lead of just, it's not that you're then not trying. It's just that it's human nature. It's part of that, especially when you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds on your football team.
Yeah. And I think, it's always funny in sports to me. It's like, I've coached on bad teams. I've coached on good teams, and played on good teams, played on bad teams. And when you go into a season, it's like, hey, you got to believe you can win. Well, sometimes you don't believe you can win, and that's just the reality of who you're playing and who you are and whatever. And if you don't believe it, you can't make it happen a lot of times. So, and like you said, sometimes it's not conscious, but then sometimes it is conscious. Maybe it's like, well, this team ain't, and I've heard this before on teams, this team's not going to win, so I'm going to be out for me, and then you worry about things starting to splinter and losing the locker room entirely. So I don't know. This is a tough position for any coach to be in. It's kind of disappointing that there's been no announcement of any kind at all this season about any changes. Maybe it doesn't make any difference, but I think Coach Prime made some really bad choices on his staff coming back into this year with Shermer and his friend, the linebacker coach, got to go, man. His defensive backs coach got to go. Some of these things have just got to be changed, and it's too late to get replacements now. So I don't know what difference it makes, but you can't early in the season, at the first half of the season, I could quite frankly point to Shermer and to a lesser extent Salter as the issues, and now there's so many issues. There's not one thing you could point to, particularly on defense. Defense has just shut down entirely. I don't even know what the hell to make of that. It's crazy to me that a team can be in games for so many games and all of a sudden just be dead.
How many guys on the defensive side of the ball have lived up to our preseason expectations?
Oh, anyone?
Two? I mean, maybe Amari McNeil. He's hurt right now, but
yeah, right. Amari McNeil's played well, but he's been injured. I mean, the two guys that have been
Tawfiq Thomas, when he's been healthy, has been good
right,
too.
Right. Well, and a lot of those guys that were hurt, that are hurt now, were doing pretty good. Looking at that list, we were counting on Okunlola and Coleman and Carter, and they both missed most of the season. And so I think McNeil and Carter, but then they're both hurt, and the only two guys who really stand out to you as players, well, three guys stand out to me as players right now is Byard, McPherson, and Merritt, right? And the two were freshmen, and we didn't predict anything from them.
And Tawfiq Byard as well.
That's what I said, Byard.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so there's only three guys on the defense playing well as far as I'm concerned, and I mean Amari McNeil, but he was out. So for this last game, and when you only got 72 players or whatever it was, I said, and you get that many injuries, man, you better be right on every single guy you brought in. That's the whole purpose of having 85 scholarships or whatever you're allowed to have now. So I don't know, sometimes things come apart and it looks worse than it actually is, and it can be fixed. And I don't know where we are with that right now, to be honest with you at all.
Well, we're going to get into that later, talk a little bit more big picture, talk about the future. We're going to get into Julian Lewis. But before we get into the first ad break, we're going to go off topic here, and we're going to get William Gardner's favorite 3 movies of all time.
Well, that's a hard one because there have been so many good ones. I'm tempted to say anything with Denzel Washington in it. And
that doesn't. It's got to be just 3, because I had the same difficulty paring it down to 3. You want me to lead off? I'm gonna go Godfather first.
Yeah, see,
the Godfather.
I never saw any of those, but I know all the good lines from them. But
you've never seen The Godfather?
Never seen any of the 3 of them. Believe it or not. You're giving me a look, man. It's like, I don't know, but like
I took so much flack for not knowing a couple songs earlier this year,
and deservedly so.
Well, then this is very much deserved, William. You're going to have to take
don't know
this one.
about that. My top one would be the first Gladiator movie. I think by far
Okay.
would be, and just all the performances and the writing and the story there was amazing to me. And
Okay. My next one is Office Space, and I worked in an office in college, through college, and that humor just hits me. Have you seen Office Space?
what do you think
No?
I'm gonna say? No, no, we have
Dang, man.
clearly we have different tastes in movies.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's another one that's kind of iconic with the gifts and everything that comes out of that and the lines that come out of that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, you
All
know,
right, what's your next one?
well, I would say this one's tough because I would say I got to say the Top Gun movies together because one and
Okay.
two kind of go together, and the second one I think is even better than the first one, but you got to see the first one to really get everything out of the second one. But and I don't know, part of that's because I worked on F-14s at Miramar back in the day. But just the stories and the writing in those were just outstanding to me. The second one was fantastic.
All right, so that's 2 and 3. Top
Yeah.
Gun. What
Well,
was the remake with?
I'm gonna call them as two.
Okay. Okay. All right, and my last one's going to be Rocky.
Yeah, right. Well, of course I've seen the Rocky movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
And
don't know.
Rocky 5 is awful. Rocky 4 is amazing from a comedic standpoint, even though it's not trying to be funny. The first one is obviously great. The story behind it, the fact that Sylvester Stallone bet on himself and he had to basically sell everything just to be able to make this movie. The studio wanted a different actor for that role. I actually really like the Rocky Balboa, the sixth one in that series, where he comes back as an old guy, and it maybe not all that realistic, but he's got that scene talking about how he's still got some stuff in the basement. It's like I feel that some days, as you get older, you still got a little bit of that stuff in the basement.
I like
so
the one.
I like that one.
I like the one with Mr. T.
The three, Rocky 3. Yeah.
He's a dinosaur, Rock.
I've never been to Pennsylvania. I'm flying out there actually this Friday to fly into Pittsburgh, and then we're going to drive down to Morgantown from there. And I'm bummed out. I wish Philadelphia was a little bit closer because it's a bucket list item to do the Rocky steps. Have you done that before?
There's no statue up there, but
okay.
Philly's a fun town. That's a nice town. There's a lot going on there.
So you're more in the action movies. What's your favorite war movie?
Action. I think I like a story. That like Braveheart would be my number 3. But there's a story and it's something that grips me and grabs me and has meaning at the end. And I like the historical stuff because I don't know. I guess I have a degree in history, but I just like the story in that and the lead actors make a big difference to me in terms of the emotion and things like that in those movies.
Yeah, you mentioned Denzel Washington. I think Man on Fire is one of the more underrated movies, and that gets me every time, man.
Yeah, I have that. So I made a little list so I said anything with Denzel Washington in it. And Man on Fire I think is one of his best movies, or Training Day, where he's the bad guy and he's just freaking magnificent in that movie. But Man on Fire is fantastic, and it's anything with Christopher Walken's got to be pretty solid too. But there's a good one with him and Mark Wahlberg, Two Guns, which is just a fun movie to watch.
All right, I haven't seen that. If I watch that, will you watch The Godfather?
All right.
You don't have to do it. It's a big commitment. It's like a 3.5 hour movie, but I don't know. Maybe the next time you're sick and you can't go anywhere and you just want to lay on the couch, that's a good movie for that.
Sounds like a plan.
So, all right, let's check in with one of our favorite sponsors here, Taco Bell. Fall is upon us and the weather is getting colder, so Taco Bell has decided to bring the heat. For a limited time, you can get Taco Bell's new Flamin' Hot Frito Grilled Cheese Burrito. Grilled cheese burritos are a fan favorite, and this edition takes it up a notch with a new spicy Flamin' Hot rice and crunchy flamin' hot Fritos, loaded with seasonal ground beef, sour cream, and cheese melted on the inside and outside of the tortilla. This burrito will be sure to be a delight. The Buffs box at participating Colorado Taco Bell locations was such a hit that they are running out at this point. So thanks to everybody that supported your local Colorado Taco Bell and by extension helping out CU. Taco Bell has donated $1,000 to the Golden Buffalo Scholarship Foundation for every CU touchdown scored in 2025. That's 24 touchdowns, equaling $24K given to the Golden Buffalo Scholarship Fund so far, with 3 games left. And the support from Taco Bell has not stopped there. The Taco Bell Foundation donated $500,000 to the Crawford Whole Student Athlete Scholarship Program at the University of Colorado. Besides promoting the Buffs via the in-store promotions, this was a significant donation to the university. It shows Taco Bell is making a difference in the lives of CU students. Live Moss at Taco Bell. All right, I don't know. That might be too spicy for you, huh, William? You got to stay away from
Maybe
that one.
we went and we got buff boxes the other on Saturday. We're going out to look at some of the neighborhoods in Denver that are, really go crazy on Halloween and stuff, and we got buff boxes, so that was fun.
Nice. So
Yeah.
there's still some left, because I was told we got to dial back the promotion of the Buffs boxes a little bit. They got so many other great things going on right now that we're focused on that. But so you're able to still acquire a couple Buff boxes. Okay.
Yeah, the one in Yale and Monaco still had them, so we got them there. But and then I was looking at the chat, and Dan O brought up Shawshank Redemption, and he's absolutely right. That's I forgot that one at Tyler. That's got to be one of my number one.
Yeah, I think IMDb actually ranks that from based on ratings from viewers as their number one movie. Of course, on the AFI list, it's Citizen Kane and Godfather's up there. Casablanca, another great movie. I'm a big Alfred Hitchcock fan. I don't know if you've watched any of his movies. Strangers on a Train is a great underrated one. Rear Window, another great one. North by Northwest. If you're a Bond fan and you haven't seen that, that's kind of before James Bond movies. That's a great one. I could spend all day talking about movies.
Yeah, you're kind of an old timey guy, but I was looking at some of that. Somebody else mentioned Saving Private Ryan, which is also another great one. Saving
Private Ryan. Okay. Well, last one, Dog Day Afternoon. If you like Al Pacino, that's him at his peak. And it's.
Well, if you like Al Pacino and you like Robert De Niro, Heat is a hell of a movie.
Yeah.
See those two
they're remaking that, I think, right?
I don't know. I heard, but those two guys made that movie great.
All right, so let's dive back into Colorado football. Julian Lewis inserted in the game, and I don't know, what were your thoughts there? That game was already lost. You could make the argument, William, that you've got a Julian Lewis that has already played in 1 game. He can only play in 3 more while preserving his red shirt. So why not wait and have him start the last 3 games? And then you don't really have to worry about the situation in terms of whether or not he plays in every game going forward. The other part of you could say that, we saw some little bit of nervousness out of Juju Lewis in the spring game and during his first performance as a Buff against Delaware. So this was an opportunity for him to get out there in a game where maybe the defense isn't 100% locked in. Maybe they're playing at 90, 95%. And you can get some of those reps in. And I thought he actually looked pretty comfortable out there, much more comfortable than the previous 2 times. Well, what was your thought when he got inserted, and kind of how do you see this playing out?
Well, I think you got to play him the rest of the way. I think he got in there against their second team, so he got an opportunity to get some plays under his belt and have a good drive to give him some confidence. But, clearly you can't go with Staub. I don't think you can go with Salter anymore. I think you're kind of out of options at this point. And redshirt be damned. Who's staying around for 5 years these days anyway? Well,
the only thing would be if Julian and his father want that done, then you got to do that. And Coach Prime said that I would not play him if he wants to redshirt after the game.
Yeah. So that's a and if that's the truth, well, I don't know. I mean, they put themselves in a bad position, a quarterback position at this point, because you're gonna what the hell do you do if he doesn't want to play? Then you got to go back to Salter, which he's not going to be happy, and you got to go back to Staub, who's shown he can't handle it. So I don't know. The quarterback is another one of those positions where they just didn't do well in the offseason. They thought they got the right guy, and it didn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah. What other personnel moves would it matter be made here the next 3 weeks?
Well, I'm
kind of enjoying seeing Sean Myers out there. He's playing hard.
Sean Myers needs to play a lot. He and Jeremiah Brown are the best options we have at running back. It'd be nice to get Simeon Price and Kalen Taylor back. But short of that, there's not a lot else you can do. Let's get Xavier Hill back on the offensive line and get some of those defensive linemen healthy. But who do you got? You're playing everybody that you can play, I think, as far as I can tell.
Well, I would say a shift offensively that should have been made 3 weeks ago is Dallin Hayden being your feature back. And
yeah,
I would assume that's Marshall Falk's call, and I'm assuming that's based on practice, but it's just like it's pretty clear that Dallin Hayden, while he's not breaking off, 65, 70-yard runs, he's at least, showing the most consistency at that position right now of the healthy guys.
Well, in this game, he had 9 carries. Welch had 10 carries, and they wound up with Hayden had 3.8 average and Welch had 3.2. So I don't know, roughly.
Not great, but before that, Hayden had better stats too the previous couple weeks.
Yeah, so I don't know.
A bit more lopsided than that. Yeah.
I don't think they still never committed themselves to the run game the way I think they should. But that might be the only thing. But when you're giving 20 carries to the running backs, I think you're getting close to what you need to be doing. Should Hayden get a couple more than Wells? I don't know. Maybe will it make a difference? I don't know. Maybe. Again, it's hard to see at this point. I don't think the problems on this team are going to be solved by that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know.
I don't think there's an answer to some of the big. We'll get. Sorry, go ahead and say what you were going to say.
No, you're good. I agree. You can try to rearrange the deck chairs right now, and if you told me you were a strong proponent of Brett Bartoloni getting the opportunity to call plays the next 3 weeks, I go, shoot. Yeah. What could that hurt? Right. Yeah. That makes sense to me. But
how can you not show Shermer the door at this point? My God, what does it actually take? And this is where I got a real bone with Coach Prime is what would it actually, does he got to be caught beating up a kid in a locker room? What the hell would it actually take to prove to him that Shermer sucks? And my God, having him as offensive coordinator has almost burned down this program. And the only thing that saved him last year was the quality of the quarterback and wide receivers. And if you haven't seen it by now, I don't know what to tell you. So Bartoloni has to call the plays from now on. He's still stuck with Numbnuts' crapola scheme. But the other thing that they just don't have an answer for off tackle, man. And I don't know what they're doing with the edges and I guess I would go forward playing the hell out of the 2 freshmen at edge, but those linebackers are not getting the job done. They got to figure something out by formation because some of their formations just give up the edge to start with. So I don't know what Livingston is doing with some of that, but that's the 2 things and then the deep ball by the defensive backs. I don't know. There's no answer to that.
Yeah. Well, Boulder wasn't a great place to be on Saturday evening as Arizona went out to a dominating fashion, but it's a pretty special place. We met up there recently at the Hungry Toad. Definitely one of my favorite spots. Our off-topic in discussion in this, what we should call this maybe second quarter here before halftime is what are your favorite 3 spots in Boulder? And there's no restrictions on that. I would say stay away from CU football though, because Folsom Field's an easy cop out there. It could be a restaurant, just area spot, memory that you have. Give me your first favorite spot that you think of in Boulder.
Given the last 20 years, I don't know why anybody would pick Folsom Field. My God, that's like a torture game.
That's rough, man. That's
being
rough.
Being a CU fan is like, I don't even know what to compare it to. I'm just standing in line to get kicked in the nuts every week. Am I allowed to say that on live podcast? But
I mean, you did, so
yeah, right there.
It's
Sorry,
out
buddy. See, I was in the Navy. There's my little old Navy squadron there, so I got a foul Navy mouth. But I don't know. I think the first thing I came up with was Boulder Falls, just
there. Okay.
up the canyon a little bit. Is very I like that. You can walk up there and see the water and whatever.
Yeah, that's really cool. My first one similarly, Chautauqua Park, where you can really get a feel for the flat irons, and there's so many good trails. And even if you're not able to hike or not a big hiker, you can take that road up to the lookout just to be able to kind of get a really cool view of Boulder in a quick period of time. I feel like it kind of encapsulates the views and the essence of Boulder in that space over there. And I haven't been there in a minute. I need to take actually maybe during the next bye week my dog down there because she loves to hike Chautauqua, and they've got a shuttle now, I guess, that takes people with the parking used to be kind of a mess. That was one of the downfalls to Chautauqua. But if you're coming out to Boulder for the first time and you just kind of want to take in the sights, I feel like that's the first place I point people to.
Yeah, that's what I had. Number 2, I had Chautauqua / Flatirons.
Yeah.
As the number 2, I think too. So and then my third one was the whole quad with the varsity pond. You sort of walk with all the big trees, and I love trees, and that just seems to me to be like your quintessential college campus scene.
Yeah.
Beautiful buildings and beautiful trees and what have you. So that was mine.
I'm a big fan of the Dark Horse. Obviously, love the Hungry Toad as well. They're both those places were kind of my food spots. Places that just kind of have a good vibe to them and great food. And the sink is cool too. But the Dark Horse to me is just it's just a little bit more open. I know it gets packed in there before games, but generally it's just an area where you can kind of stretch your legs out a little bit. And I've always been a huge fan of the Jiffy Burger.
Yeah, and it's been there 100 years, and it's iconic and kind of interesting. Kind of a little maze and going around. So that's a good one too.
Yeah. Did you go through all 3? Yeah, you said all 3 of them, huh? What was the last one again?
The quad and varsity pond.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever walked back there.
Is that close to Farrenfield, or is that not anywhere near there?
No, it's like you walk out of the back of the front, I guess, of Norland Library, and there's a big area. It's like
yes. Okay. Gotcha. Yep.
And then at the far back end of it by whatever road that is that goes down to the Hungry Toad is Varsity Pond and the bridge there. And I don't know, I just always liked that. It's quiet and beautiful. It reminds me of Thoreau and Walden Pond, things like that. And so my inner poet, my poetic soul, go ahead and laugh on the message board, but I just love that area.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Boulder Creek is the last one for me. And when I trained for races, especially when I did a marathon a couple years ago, I would park over by that public swimming pool area that the team actually walked down to this past summer, park my car there, and you run by CU's facilities. You run through kind of Pearl Street area, the Boulder Public Library. You keep heading west. And before you know it, you're up in the mountains. It's kind of an incline initially, but the greatest thing is that you get the hard part out of the way because you're going uphill. You go as far as you want to, and then you turn around and come back and kind of get that momentum coming downhill. And you get to see a lot of Boulder that way as well. So many great places in Boulder, but those are some of my favorites.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good things, and Boulder Creek kind of has a history in CU football to some extent too.
Yeah. All right. Well, we went out to see Josiah Manu at Roosevelt High School. He plays for Thompson Valley, but they were playing at Roosevelt on Thursday night. A little bit leaner than I expected, William. He mentioned to yourself, myself, and Leo Rivera, the fourth CU student reporter for ScoBuff Sports that was out there with us, that he's kind of staying lean to be able to play defensive end for his football team because he plays full-time both ways. I think he's got a good frame. You can see him being able to put some good weight on, I feel like.
Yeah, most of that too. He said he's 275. Most of that is below the waist, which is good, and the big hips and butt and whatever gives you leverage. I think we didn't measure him, but based on the photo I took with him, I think he's probably about 6'4", maybe 6'4.5". But certainly has the room to put on another 30 pounds on there. So, he's playing guard. They're seeing him as a guard up here. And so I think he's kind of a project kind of a guy. He's not a for sure sort of guy like some of the guys we've gotten recently, but I think he's got a work ethic, and it seemed like he played hard, played physical. And so I like what I saw up there.
Yeah. I think especially the way their quarterback was getting the ball out so quick, you didn't have a lot of those plays that linger to where you've got the physical guy just laying pancake blocks consistently. It seemed like he was doing a good job of doing his assignment, and it just seems like a really mature, smart young man that's gonna, like you said, kind of have that great work ethic. But yeah, definitely wasn't one of those guys you would go to the stadium and say that's a no-brainer. But
Right.
you like a lot of the intangibles. I felt like coming out of that game.
Yeah, he's not the obvious type of guard sort of guy. You're hoping to go out and see a 320-pounder already, like a Gooden or something like that. But I do think he's got potential to play at this level, and so we'll see what happens with him moving forward. He'll take a couple of years or 2 or 3 years to really kind of fill out and play up here. But I like what we saw. It was fun to go down there and see that.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot to sift through here. And the question is, do some of these changes get made now? Do they get made in after the next 3 games? As long as Coach Prime Sanders is coming back to Boulder, and I think that's more likely than not, there's going to be a lot of staff changes. And so you've got a really critical stretch coming up. More critical is what's going to happen after Kansas State. A couple of days after Thanksgiving, in that period of figuring out this coaching staff and really putting a premium on transfer recruiting of guys that are going to come in here and have leadership qualities that can get Colorado back on better footing than they are right now. And it's really difficult to do that when you recruit through the transfer portal, because it moves so quick, William. Like, if a guy hits the portal and you wait 3 days, they might have already lined up 3 visits. So it is really tough to vet these guys. It's not an easy process, but it's going to be a very critical winter for this football program.
Yeah, I mean, your questions on it. Let me. I like to throw something out there that I see in the chat room. There's a guy on there saying that the program's worse off now than it was before Prime, and that's just stupid. That's just silly. If you say that, you don't really understand how bad it was when Darrell left and how bad it was before this. And Coach Prime has brought a lot to the table, but he's got to upgrade this staff. And I've said all along, he's a guy that learns, and he's a competitive guy. What I think you got to do is set aside some ego and admit he was wrong in some areas and make some differences there. But so your question was how critical was the next 2 months to the future of CU football, and how do we keep Buffs Nation together? And
because there's a fan base part of this too that needs to support the program, and if they're apathetic, then you don't have the NIL support you need.
No, but here's the thing, it's like I don't think the next 2 months matter, because I think we're going to lose out. I think if they start to play better and get competitive, it could be something if you make some changes in the staff. I'm not sure that the next 2 months matter. And how do we keep Buff Nation together? We can't. They're already at, look at this guy, some of the people there are certain people who just live for negativity, and they just sort of sit in the background and wait for things to go wrong, like that idiot that called you out on our board. They just wait for everything to go wrong, come back and say, yeah, I told you so. So there's going to be that kind of splintering, what have you. I don't imagine people are going to show up in droves at Folsom Field after 2 57-7 type blowouts. What do you do to get them out there? I don't know. It's an entertainment business, and it's not entertaining to go out there and watch your team get waxed and give up and quit.
Yeah, and there's only one more home game too.
Yeah.
So,
well, like you said, though, it's really what happens after the season that's critical in all this, and what does he do? And I think he's got to, before the end of the season, he's got to have some ideas on his staff, and he's got to have a wider net for who he's going to take as assistant coaches from now on. It can't be friends. It can't be ex-NFL guys. It's got to be guys that know what the hell they're doing at this level. and teaching football, at the level of guys coming out of high school, so that's critical. The recruiting is critical. We got to hold on. What's the tight end kid? I'd like to hold on to him. He's for sure.
Gavin Mueller. Yeah.
Gavin Mueller, and so Coach Prime got to take a different approach to recruiting. And I understand there's health issues involved, but he's got to get out there and get to homes and meet people. And like you said, the transfer recruiting has got to happen. There's only one window this year, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes it better, but they've really got to address. Every
now, sorry to cut you off, but that said, there's still going to be, graduate transfers. So it's not going to be
right
completely 100% just the one window, but yeah.
And he's got to get out there, and he's well, not out there, but he's got to get recruiting some of the guys that are on this team that are coming up. Like there's a lot of good young talent on this team, and we got to keep it here. I mean, there's the basis for a really good young offensive line, and there's 3 guys with that as juniors that could help. So he's got to recruit the guys that are already here and keep them here, and then fill in spots and do a lot better job in the portal this year. And they got to find maybe what we get out of the next 2 months is find out if Juju Lewis is the future or not.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, we tackled quite a bit. Before we sign off, one last off-topic question, William. If you had to move away from Colorado tomorrow and you had unlimited financial resources, what would be the top 3 places you would consider moving to?
Well, I said my own island somewhere.
Well, okay. Random island. I will accept that. Now you're trying to get away from all technology. You've got
humans.
Your bathroom is a bucket in the ocean, or like
no.
How far are we going with this?
Hold the phone here, crazy town. I didn't say technology; it's the people.
Right.
Sorry, not anybody on this board. You guys are okay, but an island. I don't know necessarily, but like a big island, and I gotta have
the Caribbean, or what kind of vibe are we going for?
Well, you said unlimited financial resources, which to me
sure.
It almost doesn't matter because I can go wherever I want. But I got to have a big yacht, and I got to have people in patrol boats with machine guns and keeping everybody out. And it's got to be an island with good fishing. So that. You get out there looking for that.
You want to be a dictator is what you want to be, right?
No, I just want to be left the hell alone.
You just want your crew that you can trust to keep you safe, and that's all the interaction you need. Okay.
Just go fishing and leave me alone. That's all.
Well, can I still get you on Zoom once a week to talk Colorado football?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure,
okay.
And the part about this is best is unlimited financial resources means I'm taking a jet to whatever game I want to go to from now on.
Okay.
In a private box, of course. Again, got to have my own bathroom and all.
Yeah, you really glommed on this unlimited financial resources part of this question, didn't you?
With unlimited financial resources, there's no limit to my imagination.
I was thinking, initially San Diego would probably be the leader in the clubhouse for me, to be able to live on the beach. Yes, I would want to have it be somewhat secluded. You're right. I don't necessarily want to be. I love Manhattan Beach, and I love Mission Bay up down in San Diego. But I don't think I'd want to live on a boardwalk where everybody can. If you're living right there, everybody can look into your house. But San Diego's always been a place that when I touched down there, man, I just good vibes. I enjoy that place.
Yeah, and I had enough years in the San Diego area with both the Marine Corps and the Navy that I don't like the heat too much. So that's probably not my thing. And
well, if you're right on the coast, though, it's really not that hot. It's San Diego more like if you get a little inland. I mean, it really never gets much hotter than like 80 degrees there if you're right on the coast.
Pretty temperate. I don't know. Too many people.
All right, so you got your own island. Are any other options there for you?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, if I got money right now, I'd go live in northern Minnesota somewhere. And frankly, you could do the island thing in northern Minnesota because some of those lakes have their own islands. You could build a house on it.
Like Duluth area, somewhere up there?
Duluth would be fantastic. I love that area. Even north of there, man. You know, people say, "What about the winter?" I don't know. I stay inside and read and burn wood in the wood stove. And again,
Yeah,
be left
it's funny.
alone and be a curmudgeon, man. You know.
Actually, Minneapolis is where I was born, and that's
Oh,
one of
okay.
my top three.
Yeah.
I moved when when I was going into sixth grade, so I was like 12 years old. But I went back there when Colorado played Minnesota during the 22 season, and I hadn't been back there in a long time. Now it was late September, so it was definitely the best time to visit from a weather standpoint. But
Yeah.
Liz was with me on that trip, and we just I fell back in love with Minnesota. The people are so amazing there.
I love
Uh,
to live with the area. I love the woods and the fishing, and you know, so
yeah,
that'd be for me.
my last one would be the Bay Area, just from a seafood standpoint and just the climate of things up there. Again, a really expensive place to live. Wouldn't be able to pull that off on my salary right now. That's for sure.
Right. Well, and then yeah, to me, my other place is similar to northern Minnesota, but upstate New York or maybe even northern Maine. Upstate New York,
Okay.
like if you want to be in a city, Buffalo or uh, one of those places. But I just love it up there with the lakes and all the different parks and whatever. So
Yeah.
I guess I'm getting
Yeah.
away from people and getting into the woods. Going to the woods to find myself.
And I just have not done enough international traveling to be able to pinpoint another country. I've been to Portugal and in a bunch of cities in Mexico, and that's it. And so it's hard for me to say. I've heard great things about Spain, and got a former colleague that from the Denver Post that now lives in Rome, and he swears you can see it on his face when he comes
Yeah.
back. He's just completely a much different person now than he used to be, because it's just a different lifestyle that they live over there. So I could see the appeal there. I just haven't visited enough to know exactly
Yeah,
where I'd
well,
want to go.
yeah, and my younger brother has lived in Switzerland for 25 years now, and it's just gorgeous over there, and entirely different culture, and there's a lot of places in Europe that are fantastic, but I couldn't pick one to sort of be my place. Then you got to learn the language and all that other sort of stuff, but there's a lot of places over there that are just beautiful. Like I was gonna say, just
Yeah.
Europe in general.
Austria for sure, man. Some of the scenes from that.
Mhm.
We got a comment here from Colorado fan 7034. You live in Boulder, expensive. I don't live in Boulder. There's a reason that I got to commute between 50 minutes to an hour to work, for sure. So
Yeah, he lives in the middle.
there's not a whole lot of. Okay, William, go on your Johnstown rant. I'm gonna open the floor for you.
Oh, here we go, man. So I had to drive like 9 hours to get to this football game on Thursday night.
9 hours. Okay.
9,
Okay.
yeah.
That sounds rough, man. Well,
Yeah. Then you see this high school out there in the middle of nowhere, nothing around it, for miles, and there's dead bodies and skeletons where people starved to death.
there's a Buc-ee's here. Nobody's starving. Everybody's got their snacks. So I don't even remember what I was saying there, but yeah, no, we are very lucky to live in Colorado, and I definitely am not looking to leave, but we had to break up this show, William. There's no way I was going to repeat. It was like, we could just do the same show we did last week if we don't throw some random stuff in there.
Yeah, absolutely. We're hoping for better things. I think, I see this one guy still trying to take over the chat with his prime sucks stuff. But that's just a dude with an agenda, because he's never been on to say anything before. And those people are just kind of silly to me. But, I think long-term, there's still a lot to be positive about, but he's got to make some decisions and make some hard choices moving forward.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I'm traveling back late next Sunday. So if your schedule allows, William, hopefully we can do another Monday show again next week around the same time.
Yeah, I think that should work out.
Okay, awesome. We tried our best. It's been a rough couple of weeks in Buff Nation. Everybody out there, try to hang in there. We're trying to do the same, and we'll be back next week with the new BuffStampede Radio. Is your business growing but not quite ready for a full-time CFO? Macaulay Capital offers fractional CFO services for companies doing more than $3 million in annual revenue. You get expert financial leadership without the full cost. Learn more about how you can improve your business's profitability and cash management at MacaulayCapital.com. If you know Boulder, you know the Hungry Toad. We've been serving this town since 1991, long before the lines on Pearl Street. Just north of campus, we're your local British pub with proper fish and chips, quality burgers, a scratch kitchen, real English cask ale, and no tourist fluff. We support CU football, women's soccer, and the loyal fans who keep it local. The Hungry Toad, Boulder born, Buffs proud.